It is time for rapid fire. Look at that. Awesome. Gilbert, something or nothing. Ben Volin of the Boston Globe and Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston both said Robert Kraft is losing his patience. Could this be Bill Belichick's last season with the Patriots if he has yet another losing season?
I could see it, but I don't know how I feel about firing the guy. Like, it would be nice to have Bill Belichick go out on his own terms, like retire. He's older, and he's done so much for that franchise, all the Super Bowls. But to fire him seems a little extreme. But I understand it because at some point you got to close a chapter on this era of Belichick and
mutually part ways.
Because once Tom Brady left, like, you're starting like a new page, and you kind of still trying to hold on with Belichick there, and it was pretty bad last year with the coaching hires. But hey, maybe Bill O'Brien was the right hire. He fixes Mac Jones, and they're back on track because that defense is going to be pretty good. And whose baby that? Speaking about babies, you mentioned baby earlier. That Bill Belichick's defense is his baby, so he can still coach on that side at least.
100%.
But if the offense is still boring, it's clunky, and it's a problem, and Robert Kraft might get frustrated and pull the plug.
And there's a name out there floating. The successor is on the staff right now. Gerard Mayo is supposedly the name that everybody keeps, or that Tom said on I can't remember if I think it was it was on Rich Eisen's show. He said it would be Gerard Mayo. I understand it. Robert Kraft is a guy that he's looking at his age. He's looking at everything. He's like, hey, I don't want to win another one before I head up. So I'm sure he's kind of saying, hey, does Bill still have that spark in him, or is he kind of checked out, or what's going on? And I understand where he's coming from, and obviously he's going to need to make some tough decisions. But yeah, I think it'd be a mutually part ways. But I definitely think that Bill needs to win this year. If not, that's going to be interesting. Gilbert, we are sort of a soccer show, and we've been talking about this. Players say they want regular grass. Well, now a $500 million man comes to the MLS and Lionel Messi, and he said he is not going to play on artificial surfaces. 6 of the teams in the MLS play on field turf. 4 of those stadiums shared with NFL teams, the Panthers, the Seahawks, the Patriots, and the Falcons. Will Lionel Messi's unwillingness to play on artificial surfaces expedite the NFL to have all their teams play on regular grass before FIFA does the World Cup in 2026? And remember, that's why they're saying that the SoFi Stadium may not be suitable for the World Cup final. And I think the Jets is another one that they're saying because they play on artificial turf. So what do you think? Do you think they listen because it is Lionel Messi? I mean, maybe sometimes it takes a big superstar like that to make change.
It'd be nice if Messi, makes change like that. Like, if he doesn't play, where's Messi? Where's that guy from Saudi Arabia? Where's Messi? Where's Messi? But I don't see it happen because for the NFL, it's in a different sport. That is not their problem. They do not care. Soccer's not going to make a difference. And then for the World Cup thing, it's like, okay, in LA, that's your issue. It's not really the collective owner's issue. So maybe it'll kind of get more talk going, but I just don't see a lot of kind of steam building up to make changes for all 32 teams to do it. Maybe in a few years, but I don't think Messi would do it.
Well, I don't think it's all 32 stadiums though. I think
good chunk, yeah.
Yeah, a good chunk. I'll be the opposite. I'll say that this does bring change because I think the there has to be something going. Remember last year, Cooper Kupp, JC Jackson, there was numerous, even DK Metcalf got hurt at one point. It wasn't as serious, and he wasn't going to the bathroom, people. He did get carted off and he didn't come back in that game. So there is a point where the players are saying, hey, and we've seen it when the players kind of get together and they say something, the NFL owners do listen. So I think this is a stance that NFL players should take if they really, for their long-term health, feel like this is something that they need. I think Lionel Messi is going to kind of start something like that because, like I said, I'm not like the NFL World or the World Cup is serious because obviously there's going to be a lot more teams, a lot more games, a lot more stadiums are going to be able to feel the World Cup coming to the United States and everything. So I think everybody benefits. And I think by the time the World Cup happens, I think more teams will have regular grass than not. And hey, you're just creating more jobs out there. Isn't that what NFL teams want to do: create more jobs, help more people. There you go. Easy as that. Look at that. I should be
Everything you're
involved.
saying, running backs are like, yeah, right, Fernando.
Hey, Lionel Messi over the running backs. That's exactly what the math is right here. So, no, I'm just saying. But Gilbert, the NFL made the sale of the Washington Commanders to the Josh Harris led group this week. They made it final. Magic Johnson, who is, by the way, Dan Snyder. Hey, you're losing your team. By the way, you have to pay a $60 million in reparation for everything that you did. That's a hell of a thing. Magic Johnson, who is one of the new minority owners, said that the team will consider a name change after the season. Is it a good idea for the Washington football team to change the Washington football team to change their name for the fourth time in 5 years? Magic Johnson, Jesus, this guy always like. Sometimes his tweets are just ridiculous. Like, the Lakers need to step up. Well, yeah, no crap, dude. Like, what the hell's the matter? Like, he just tweet like he's Captain Obvious basically. But my bad. I need to go first on this one just because I have my train of thought. If you do, and you don't want to lose this fanship, this fan base, you need to go back to the original. No, I'm just kidding. No, what you need to do is take back all the Commander stuff, because I'm sure they're going to change the colors too. They'll probably do something like that too. You need to take back all that stuff and trade it in. Trade in a Commander's jersey for a new jersey. Like, if you got a Commander's Dotson jersey, you get a whatever, the Unicorns of Washington, you get a jersey of the Dotson. Like, even trade, and obviously the jersey still has to be in decent condition, the one that you're giving back. But I think they need to do something like that. If not, the team is going to be like, hey, what the hell? We spent our names when it was for the first thing. We spent the name when it was the Washington football team. We spent the name with the Commanders. And now with the damn Unicorns, we have to spend money too. Like, I'd be pissed. So do an exchange. Do something to kind of save face. But this is wild to me that they're going to change the name. Like, they're considering it.
Yeah, it's not ideal to do it again, but I feel like you have to, because anything that Dan Snyder did or decided, like, just get rid of it, move on, start fresh, because that guy was a disaster for the last 20 plus years. Then the weird part though is like a lot of that fan base, they're kind of like the Cowboys, but the Cowboys don't have a lot of issues like the whatever Washington team.
They have different issues.
They have different issues, but like they want to hold on to that rich history that's been so long ago. So I don't see the colors changing. And that's the thing, that you're kind of like in a hard place. Like you want to keep a lot of things the same, but you can't get back that name because it's very controversial. So what do you do? But I think they're going to change the name. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because nobody likes the Commanders. I actually was hooked on the Washington football team. I was used to it. Whatever, let's move on. Just keep the city, call it a day. But Commanders was terrible. They chose it, whatever. But I think they should definitely reconsider and not reconsider, but definitely go with the decision that Matt Johnson said. Captain, obviously, you told them, and then start fresh.
You want something? You want a great idea? Washington, if you're going to do this, do an essay or do a contest for all the
like
kids.
The
no, hold on. Do a contest for all the elementary schools, all the middle schools, and all the area, and hand out a scholarship of $4,000, whatever, to the winner. Whoever comes up with the next team name, whoever gets it, come up with a scholarship and let them invest in their future. You give them that scholarship, and when they go off to college, they can use that scholarship. That, in my opinion, would be the best way. If you're going to do it, something, like Bane says, we're going to give it back to you, the people. Let the people decide. Let the kids decide. And then, obviously, Harris and all these guys have a crap ton of money. Why don't you make scholarships for these kids and give back to the community? That's just my opinion.
There you go.
I'm all about giving back. Gilbert, Milwaukee outfielder Sal Frelick had one of the best debuts in baseball history on Saturday versus the Braves. He not only had 3 hits and the game-winning RBI, but he also robbed 2 home runs on defense. What has been the best debut for an NFL player you've seen? And you cheated on this one, but go ahead.
Well, first of all, it's a second week or third week in a row where Victor adds a baseball player on the rundown that I've never heard of. And that tells you how, I guess, out of touch I am with baseball. I've never heard of this dude, but hopefully he's a
career.
A rookie. Yeah, so I guess he had a pretty good debut. We'll figure it out. I'll go back and watch the highlights. But in NFL terms, I couldn't figure it out because the Justin Herbert one we've touched on a lot because I was there. It was pretty cool. He came out of nowhere, plays Tyrod Taylor with the broken ribs. But I won't say I won. And I couldn't decide either. So there was 2 quarterbacks that really stood out to me back to back. 2011, Cam Newton threw like 400 yards, and then RG3 in 2012 topped it I just remember RG3 just throwing the game-winning touchdown and going like this from the ground. So those two quarterbacks, like at the time, quarterbacks being that good as rookies was kind of rare, and Cam Newton to do it and RG3 do it back to back was pretty cool.
Cam was against Arizona, right? That was his first game. No,
I forgot the teams they were playing,
Miami.
but yeah,
Miami. Okay, yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I remember Cam Newton had like 850 yards his
yeah,
first two games, like combined. I remember the RG3 one in New Orleans, I think.
yeah, that one.
I'm gonna go with LaDainian Tomlinson. I remember this from when I was a kid. 36 carries. These running backs wouldn't do that. 113 yards and 2 touchdowns, Gilbert. A lot of people thought that LT was a bust. He was a smaller kind of back coming out of TCU. They had just traded with the Atlanta Falcons, so Atlanta could select Michael Vick, and obviously the Chargers went back and they selected LaDainian Tomlinson. And LT went on to be the best running back in Chargers history, and definitely one of the greatest running backs of all time. I'm sure he's top 6, top 7, depending on who you are. But LT was just something else for this Chargers franchise, and that debut, 36 carries. I'm not
That's a
even
lot.
counting his catches. I'm sure he had more catches, but LT used to touch the ball at least 40 times a game, and the dude just never slowed down. So definitely that's one that I definitely remember for sure. Gilbert, Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones did not report a training camp, but will be fined $50K per day should Jones be in the 22 to $23 million range, with other DTs who have signed their extensions recently, like Quentin Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, Deron Payne, Dexter Lawrence, or should he be closer to 31 million and making that Aaron Donald money? And should he take a team friendly deal, kind of like Mahomes and Kelsey? But that's a two-parter. But
Yeah.
should he get that 22-23, or should he get that Aaron Donald 31? He's seeking, according to our compa Nate Taylor, he is seeking 30 million, which is just a little bit under Aaron Donald.
Well, it's kind of a tricky question because like he's an older player now. I think he was drafted what 2015, 2016, so
Yep.
it's not young for him, but he played like Aaron Donald last year. Like I know it was one really good year. Like he's always been really good, but he was like superstar level. Like what he did last year was better than Aaron Donald because I know Aaron Donald was hurt, so it was easy to top. But he was on that level of like all the double teams, whatever it is. He was just making an impact, and I think he's closer to that $30 million range. I don't want to say like I don't want to say like he's right there, but he has to make more than Quentin Williams. I feel like I know Quentin Williams is younger, but Quentin Williams did it for 1 year. Like this guy took forever to develop, and Chris Jones has been doing it every single year. But that's the tricky part. Do you want to pay an older guy, and it gets a little risky? But in terms of defensive tackles, it goes Aaron Donald and Chris Jones is right here, not that far, but it's still a little gap, and the rest are like right here. I feel like.
His age is the one thing that kind of has me question everything. He had 15 and a half sacks in 2018. He had 15 and a half sacks last year. That means in 2 seasons, he had 31 sacks. Like that is crazy.
Defensive tackle. That's not
defensive tackle. His age has me questioning something, but I mean, if you're going to do the contract, maybe you do maybe it's a 2-year contract. You get out of it. Maybe it's a 5-year contract. But after 2 years, you can get out of it. Kind of a Tom Telesco special. Yeah. Kind of like a Tom Telesco special kind of contract like that. But yeah, I mean, I think he deserves it, dude. I think the dude is legit. I don't think there's a better defensive tackle out there, not named Aaron Donald. I don't think he's in the Quentin Williams or all that. He's not in that. No, those guys are above. They're average and above average, I guess. And these guys are just exceptional, generational talent kind of thing. I think he kind of does deserve to be there, especially with all the work that he's put in and all the, like you said, all the double teams he's taken. Gilbert, last one. The Tennessee Titans will be wearing throwbacks from the Houston Oilers. Should teams be allowed to use throwback jerseys if they're no longer in that city?
Yeah, this is going to be part of my Bear of the Week, so I'm glad you guys do it in here so I don't have to waste my time over there. But I don't like it. Like, you left Houston and you went to Tennessee and you're trying to take the history with you. I don't think that – I know it's not in the rules. You're not allowed to do that, whatever, because I think I saw like the Browns bought back the rights of the Ravens when they left, and that's their history. Even that feels funky. Just I don't know. I feel like when you're in a new city, just that's your city history. Don't try to bring it back. Even with the Chargers in San Diego, I feel weird about that. So I don't know. When you're going with the uniforms and the Oilers and you left that city, don't do it. And I know that the the Tennessee Oilers were a thing for a couple of years, right? But nobody cares about that. And I don't know what they're doing here. Don't do it. Give it back to Houston Texans and call it a day. I don't want to see it. It's a bad look.
I'd love for the Baltimore Ravens one day to like troll and just wear Cleveland Browns jerseys and stuff and just stuff like that. Just be ultimate trolls. I really don't care. I mean, it's a part of their history. I don't think, I think sometimes you kind of do yourself a disservice when you kind of look back at your city or the city that you used to be at. And you're kind of like, we don't need them. Like, no, sometimes you have a lot of, like, sometimes you're kind of dissing the fans that you have there, I think. I feel like they're still in Cleveland. There's probably fans that are Ravens or like they used to be Browns fans. And now
No
they're
way.
Ravens.
No way.
I bet you I could find one.
No way. Like this guy, one committee guy, like that's my franchise. And I don't care. They're called
exactly.
The
there has to be one Canandaigua there. There has to be. But
yeah, but the Chargers have the same name, and that kind of feels like still very similar.
That's true. Yeah, no, these other. Yeah, you're right. Okay, if they were the Tennessee Oilers, then all right, like continue it. But you're not. So yeah, okay. That I see your point there. Definitely. So yeah, I definitely see your point.